Hello and welcome back to our Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky 1 playthrough. In our last episode we completed the second task that our father left us when he went off gallivanting around the world. And I am actually going to see if we can do any of these quests before we get on to the third one to try and help us out, because we were being beaten up rather badly. And it should help. It should help both our cash situation and our experience. Possibly. Let us try the lost kitten, shall we? Aina says, "Oh right, Renon's mother came here trying to set me up with her son. It seems that she's been out asking all the girls in town about the same thing. I'm sorry to say this, but I'm not ready to get married. Although if some handsome stranger showed up on my doorstep one day, I might just change my mind." Right, we need to go find Ida at the Cafe Terrace. Well, this would be the cafe. That's Claire. It must be Ida then, by process of elimination. Ida says, "What am I ever to do? I hope these braces will show up sometime soon." Estelle asks, "Did I hear you say you're looking for a couple of braces?" Ida replies, "Yes, that's right. Does this mean you are they?" Estelle nods. "It sure does." Ida asks, "Even that handsome young man too?" Joshua nods. "That's right, myself included." Ida says, well, what a pleasant surprise this is. There certainly seem to be a lot of people with the name Bracer these days." Estelle questions her sanity. Ida asks, "Does this mean that you're brother and sister or something like that?" You know, that's got to be it. When people have the same name, it usually means they're family. Estelle says, "Well, I guess that's kind of how it is for us." Joshua whispers, "Estelle, I think this lady has no idea what braces are. She seems to have mistaken the word bracer for somebody's name." Estelle whispers back, "You can't be serious." Ida asks, "May I ask what the two of you are whispering to each other about?" Joshua sighs. It'll be a pain to explain all of this to her, so let's just go along with what she says. Estelle whispers back, "I'll try." Joshua says, "You seem to be troubled over something, ma'am." Ida says, "My goodness, for such a cute little dumpling, you catch on quick. Young boys are so considerate." Estelle growls, "Hey, are you really distressed, or are you just trying to flirt with someone who's way too young for you?" Ida replies, "Oh, that's right, I am so distressed. My little Errol hasn't come home. I carelessly dozed off here at the cafe and she vanished." Estelle asks, "And who is Errol exactly?" Ida replies, "My little kitten. She's so snuggly wuggly. Oh, and if I might add, it's not just her face that's so cute, it's her personality as well." Joshua asks, "What's the colour of your kitten's fur?" Ida replies, Let me think for a moment. Maybe it's like the colour of the evening sun in autumn shining down upon a field of wheat." Joshua asks, "So it's tannish?" Ida replies, "I think she's just out running around somewhere, so if you find her, please bring her back." Joshua says, "Understood. We'll start by looking for her outdoors. If we find her, we'll come back and report to you." Ida replies, "I'll be waiting right here for you. Good luck, Mr. and Miss Brazier." "I see." Now, if we were cats, where would we be? Estelle says, "Look." Joshua, "Is that cat?" Joshua replies, "It looks like the one the lady was looking for." Estelle nods, "I'm certain that's the one. We'd better hurry and catch it." So I went off in this direction. Could have gone to the mews, maybe. Wouldn't have gone down there, would it? Guess we'd better check the mayor's place. Doesn't appear to be anything here, but you never know for sure. Nope. No cat at the mayor's. It wouldn't have gone into the hotel, would it? Possibly the church. You haven't seen a cat, have you? Father Divine says, "I've watched over Relent for almost 30 years. I stood with the citizens in bewilderment as we saw our once fair city reduced to rubble 10 years ago. However, when I gaze out on the rebuilt city, I'm awed at the strength that people possess. Frailty, strength, these two contrasting things are inseparable in our paradoxical existences. However, for myself, these features are what make us, as humans, most beloved." I see. Sister May says, "The Sunday school lesson went better than expected. This is thanks to the advice of Father Divine. However, I just don't know what to do about Luke's naughty behaviour." Luke says, I wish I could grow up now. I'd become a bracer and be so successful. I must really suck if I got passed up by the likes of Estelle, but I guess that's life. Pretty sure it wouldn't have gone into the sewers, right? I mean, you never know, but... dear.
That's that then. Let's move out.
Got a curative form. Oh, missed.
We're good to go!
Alright, so why doesn't Estelle miss yet? Joshua does. Especially on a seventh up. Nice. And a crisp onion.
Piece of cake!
This chest is empty. Because of you. Nice work, hero. Even the chests are insulting us.
Let's do this!
Here I come! Piece of cake!
Nice. The door is rusted and appears to be locked. That should do. Oh, come on. We're could have got that last little bit. He could have contacted it all.
That's that then. Let's move out.
Security forwards. Lucky us.
Piece of cake.
Nice. Crisp onion and a security forward. By looking inside this chest again, you flunk. Just kidding. Okay.
That's that then. Let's move out.
Juicy boon. Well, guess there's no cat down there. How about you, Pat? Pat says we learned about the Bracer Guild at Sunday school the other day. Braces are so cool. Alright, guess we'd better start invading people's houses. Seeing if there's cats around. Well, nothing there. Nothing there. Girl with glasses says, "Wow, how cute is this?" Right. Can we unlock another slot? We may be able to. Not for Joshua. Could for Estelle. I think I'd prefer to wait for that one. So, yeah, that's what I think we'll do. Estelle says, "Look, it's that cat again. Get back here." Let's bug it off. Joshua sighs. This is just like back at the Purcell farm. It seems like we're doing... Start again. It seems like we're doing a lot of chasing these days. Alright. The cat went back this way. Estelle cries, "There's that cat again." Joshua says, "Estelle, wait a minute. Maybe that kitten is trying to..." Estelle cries, "Oh no, it's getting away. It went toward the chapel. Let's hurry and catch it." Joshua sighs. Here we go again. Well, to the chapel. Estelle laughs evilly. "There's nowhere left to run, little kitty. It's time to be caught." And he buggered off again. Doesn't look like he bothered the sister. Estelle says, "Be a good kitty and surrender. Stay right there like that, and..." Joshua says, "Estelle, don't corner her like that. What do you intend to tell her owner if she takes a dive off the terrace?" Estelle pouts, "I know that, but it's not like there's any other way to catch her." Joshua calls, "Come here, Errol. That's right, this way." "I'm sorry the big bad Estelle scared you like that." Estelle grumbles, "Jerk." Joshua smiles, "Come on, let's go back and see your owner." And Errol is in love with Joshua. Joshua says, "That's a good girl, Errol. All right, let's go. Your owner's waiting for you." Joshua continues, and that's pretty much everything that happened. I'm pretty sure that Errol was on her way back to see you from the beginning. Each time I saw her, she'd been walking toward the cafe. Estelle gasps. Now that you mentioned it, that does seem like what happened. Joshua says, "There's a chance that because of us, she ended up coming back this late." Ida replies, "Oh, don't be silly. You two brought her back safe and sound. I'm really grateful to the both of you. But especially you, Mr. Bracer. You are just the cat's meow." And Errol is very happy. Joshua says, "I'll take that as a compliment." Estelle grins. "You're blushing, Joshua." Ida says, "I'd sure like to put a collar on you. Then you'd be perfect." Joshua stammers, "I apologise, but we're going to need to get back and report to the guild. Have a nice day." Estelle cries, "See you later." Ida says, "Oh yes, I hope to be seeing a lot more of Mr. Bracer." We completed the Lost Kitten quest. So now, head back to the Bracers Guild, see if we can hand this in. We reported the results for Lost Kitten. We got 500 monies and gained 2 BP. And our current rank remains Junior Bracer 8th class. Aina says, "Good work. It seems like you completed your objective without any trouble. If you finish any other jobs, please come back and report again." Alright. So we have 2 short terms, which I think are just a tiny bit beyond us at this point. So we'll go for this Orvid gentleman who wants us to look for a rare mushroom near the mine, I would say. Now, we could have done that, I suspect, while we were doing the previous job. Well, last episode's job. But I guess we'll know for next time. Orvid says, "Darn braces, how long do they intend to keep me waiting? If they don't hurry and get here, I'm going to miss my flight. I should have expected as much from a rural backwater bird like this." Huh? Well, I'll be. That's the bracer emblem, if I'm not mistaken. I've been waiting for you to show up. I have an urgent job, so do you have some time to hear my request? Let's listen. Estelle nods. Sure, we've got some time. Orvid says, "Great, this really helps me out a lot. Alright, let me give you a rundown and explain the details of the job. Let me formally introduce myself. I am Orvid, representative for Orvid Co. Limited. Estelle says, "I'm Estelle, and this is..." Joshua says, "Joshua, it's nice to meet you." Orvid says, "Estelle and Joshua, is it? The two of you are quite young, if I do say so myself." Estelle giggles. We're actually pretty new to this whole bracer thing. Orvid says, "Greenhorns? Oh well, I guess you'll have to do." Estelle asks, "Pardon?" Orvid continues, "Never mind, I was just talking to myself. Alright, let's get down to business. Please excuse my lack of decorum, but I'm in a bit of a hurry." Estelle nods. "Sure." Orvid says, "At the moment, I'm looking for a rare mushroom called the firefly fungus. It is said that it only grows in soil rich with septium. There are records of it being picked here in Roulette, but no shops seem to carry it. However, it is a vital necessity that I get my hands on one, so I put in a request at the guild house." Joshua ponders. Soil rich in septium. I can only think of the Mulga Trail as a possible location. Do you know any other characteristics of these mushrooms? Orvid replies, "It seems that it normally grows in areas with patches of grass. However, since it is buried in the dirt, if you don't look closely, you won't find it." Estelle grumbles, "Geez, this one sounds like it's going to be a pain." Orvid says, "But once you dig one up, you'll know if it's a firefly fungus or not. For one thing, it glows with a light green colour." Joshua asks, "So that's why it's called a firefly fungus?" Estelle says, "Well, that makes sense." Orvid asks, "Alright, have I explained things clearly enough?" Estelle says, "So basically all we need to do is find a glowing mushroom and a patch of grass along the Mulga Trail, right?" Joshua nods. "Looks that way to me. Well, if they're really growing in the ground, we probably wouldn't be able to find one so easily." Orvid says, "If you run into any trouble, come back and speak with me again. I ask that you find one as soon as possible." Well, I mean, if he asks that we find one as soon as possible. Alright, let us... I'm actually going to convert some Mirage Sepith, just so we don't go over. So we got 600 monies for that. But we should now have enough to buy ourselves 2 armoured vests. Don't have enough for spikes for both of us. So we'll just take one. And we will equip an armor vest to Joshua. And we will give him the spikes. Then Estelle can have the other armor vest. And when we get some more monies, we'll get her some spiked shoes as well. Now, to the Morgul Mines. Or the Morgul Trail, at least. Just checking the grass everywhere we go. 'Cause why not? And it wouldn't be on you, would it?
We're good to go.
Ow. Not nice.
Piece of cake.
Well, they should be weak to fire. I would hope. They are plants after all. Ow! Well, yes, that did a fair bit of damage. Ah, come on. some beast flesh. Okay, so it was distinctly the Mulber Trail as opposed to the Mulber Mine. Which would generally mean that I have gone in the wrong direction. Because I applied logic to the situation. So, this being the case, let's see what we can find down the Mulber Mine Trail.
Piece of cake.
And as we know that Firebolt works quite well. Ow.
Let's do this!
Here I come. Piece of cake.
Yay! Got some beast flesh too. And then Joshua can finish them off.
That's that then. Let's move out.
Two fresh herbs are ours.
move out!
Slowly closing in on our green target. Kitty can kick.
We're good to go.
3 of you. 3. Ow. You're even behind him, Joshua. You did it again.
Piece of cake.
Apologies for the dogs. We found a white bracelet. This chest is now full of disappointment. True. Estelle says, aha! Joshua asks, what's with the sudden outburst? Estelle grins, I found it. Now to claim our prize. We got the firefly fungus. Joshua asks, isn't that Estelle grins. You think so too? The place it's growing seems about right, and it's got that soft green glow. This has got to be that firefly fungus that what's-his-face was talking about. Joshua asks, you mean all of it, right? Estelle nods. Yeah, that's how I meant. It doesn't look all that tasty, but it sure is pretty for a mushroom. Almost like the glow of septium, if you ask me. Joshua asks, septium? Joshua asks, Estelle asks, what's up, Joshua? Joshua says, I may be worrying too much, but I think you'd better put that mushroom in your bag quickly, Estelle. Estelle asks, what the? Oh, more Gala kittens. Joshua says, just like I figured. Estelle asks, this mushroom attracts? Joshua cries out, Estelle, look out! Okay.
Let's do this!
Here I come!
All right, we're good to go.
Got them sorted out. And got some beast flesh. Estelle sighs. Now that was a surprise, I tell you. Joshua asks, did you put that thing away? Estelle nods. Yep, it's all taken care of. Joshua says, the light emitted by raw septium has the power to attract monsters. This mushroom also seems to have the same effect. Estelle pouts. That sneaky merchant. Sorry again. Estelle pouts. He never mentioned a single thing about this. Joshua says, anyway, let's hurry back to town. Estelle nods. Right. Just wait till I get my hands on you, you conniving merchant. Well. It seems that Estelle is less than impressed. Phew.
All right, we're good to go.
And we should be able to get Estelle her orpiment upgrade. When we return to town as well. So yes, that's something to look forward to. because I'm cheap. Alright, Mr. Orvid. Orvid says, "What's that you say? You found the mushroom?" Estelle nods. "Yep, we found it all right." Orvid exclaims, "Oh, wonderful." Estelle says, "But it might be different than the one we heard about from you. You see, this mushroom attracts monsters." Orvid gulps. Well, it's like this." Joshua asks, "So even though you knew the risk, you hired us for the job, Orvid?" Orvid asks, "What? How was I supposed to know something like that? And besides, a bracelet's job is to deal with danger, right?" Estelle yells, "Well, a little heads up would have been nice, so we could have at least been prepared." Joshua says, "Never mind us, the big question here is your motive. What do you intend to use this mushroom for?" Estelle nods. "Yeah, this thing could be a weapon." "Fess up, you got some big nefarious plan in mind, right? A nefarious mushroom plan." That recent news in Australia might... yes. Life imitating art with mushrooms. Orvid asks, what? Isn't it obvious what I'm going to use it for?" "For cooking, of course." Estelle asks, "What?" Joshua asks, "Cooking?" Estelle asks, "Are you trying to tell me that people actually eat this thing?" Orvid sighs. "This is why it's such a pain to deal with country bumpkins. In the hands of a skilled chef, the more distinct the ingredient, the more profound the taste. And from that perspective, the firefly fungus is the king of them all. This is, no doubt, the ultimate ingredient." Estelle frowns. "So pretty much what you're saying is that it's for people with bizarre eating habits?" Orvid scoffs. That's the talk of one unacquainted with a true delicacy. But then again, commoners such as yourselves would never have an opportunity to try such dishes." Estelle sighs, and praise be to heaven for that. I'd never want to gnaw on a ratty green mushroom like that. Joshua nods. Agreed, it looks pretty nasty. Orvid says, "Anyway, I have other business preparations to make. Now, if you don't mind, I'd ask that you hand over the mushroom and leave." Estelle says, "Yeah, please take it." We handed over the firefly fungus. Orvid says, "On behalf of this mushroom, I shall turn a blind eye to your ignorance, and as promised I will pay you, so be grateful to your client." Estelle pouts. "Nobody's going to buy that mushroom, I hope you know. Come on, Joshua, let's go." Joshua says, "Please excuse us, we'll be going now." Orvid says, "Yes, please do." And we've completed the mushroom hunt quest. So now to head back to the Bracers Guild and hand it in. We have reported the results. We got 700 monies and 3 more BP. And stated Junior Bracer 8th class. Aina says, "Good work. It seems like you completed your objective without any trouble. If you finish any of the jobs, please come back and report again. Okay. So, I think we'll go try to find Chief Warrant Officer Ashton at the Verte checkpoint and do this soldier training next. After, of course, upgrading Estelle. Nice. Now we can insert accolades. Going to insert information there. Yeah, the west end of the main road would be going west. That was the Purcell Farm. Oh, that's right. Those are the 300 things. Okay. I'm assuming this is the pineapple thing, but because I'm scared, we'll just put a little save in there and then exterminate it. Not able to move. Pine plant. Okay. A wandering plant monster that uses water-based arts, and it explodes when defeated. Okay. Ooh, that's no good. Alright, so let's just go to a safer distance. Then use fire and finish it off, in theory. Ow.
Good to go.
Yay! Estelle leveled up and Joshua just needs one more point. Estelle has learned hurricane. We got some black ones that time. We exterminated the monster on Milch Main Road. Good for us. The Vertibridge or Vertebridge. Yeah, you wouldn't happen to be Chief Warrant Officer, would you? No, you're Private Scott. Private Scott says, this is just between you and me, but the Chief used to be part of the Royal City's main forces. They even say he showed some incredible promise as a leader. I wonder what could have caused him to be stationed here. That is a question. Private Harold says, the Chief almost blew his top when he caught me fishing in the river over there. Man, it's such a waste when there are so many good fish. The water is so cool and refreshing too. I see. Chief Warrant Officer Ashton says, well, I've listened to Estelle and Joshua too. Estelle says, hello, Mr. Ashton. Joshua says, it's been a while since we last met. Chief Warrant Officer Ashton says, yes, it has. So I've heard my boy Luke caused you a lot of trouble, did he? I'm absolutely ashamed as a father. Estelle grins. I'm sure it's perfectly normal for a boy his age to be naughty like that. I mean, even I ran around outside of town when I was young. Joshua says, yeah, and you're supposed to be a girl. Chief Warrant Officer Ashton says, you're certainly full of energy as usual. I'd love to get you to share some of that vigor with my new recruits. I've been thinking recently about doing a simulated battle to whip my men into shape. So I put in a request to the guild for a few good men or women to play the part of enemy soldiers. I think the pair of you would be the perfect fit for the job, so how about it? Can you do this for me? Yes, why not? Estelle nods, sure, we'll do it. Joshua agrees, we'll gladly accept. Chief Warrant Officer Ashton says, thanks, I really appreciate this. Go ahead and take a break until the preparations are ready. If I don't have you in tip-top condition, then there's no point in doing the training. Estelle grins, hey, then I'm ready for an afternoon nap. Joshua says, alright then, we'll get ourselves ready. Chief Warrant Officer Ashton says, sure, please do what you need to. Ashton continues, alright, training begins now. Everyone advance 5 steps forward. Ready yourselves. Private Scott says, I know I was bored before, but... Private Harold says, I know it's just training and all, but it still scares the living daylights out of me. Ashton says, this is a training exercise, so please refrain from speaking. You all need to take this seriously, as if this were a real battle. Estelle and Joshua, you don't need to hold back on my men. Estelle grins. That was my intention from the beginning. Joshua nods. We'll do as you request. Private Harold yells, yikes! Ashton cries, forward! Royal Army soldiers, a member of the Verte Bridge garrison. They have zero motivation, but lots of power. Ooh. That wasn't nice. Do you mind?
All right, we're good to go.
Okay. Joshua leveled up too. Ashton cries, "Cease fighting. This training is over." Private Scott says, "Ow, ow, 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 ow." Private Harold says, "Oh my goodness, it's finally over." Joshua says, "Good job, everyone." Estelle sighs, "Can I say pathetic? Are you guys really supposed to be soldiers?" Private Scott says, "Hey, you be quiet. We're not all feral kids like you." Estelle yells, "How about you try and say that one more time?" Ashton interjects, "Knock it off, Scott. Training is over." Joshua says, "You seriously need to cool down too, Estelle." Estelle pouts, "I hate sore losers." Ashton says, "Private Scott, Private Harold, I think what Estelle said just a moment ago is how the citizens of this region really feel. Do you really have what it takes to protect them? It seems as though the both of you need to take another look in the mirror." Private Harold says, "Yes, sir." Ashton says, "Very good. Do not forget what you learned today and strive to fulfill your duties." Ashton continues, "Estelle and Joshua, thanks for your hard work today. Thanks to you, I think my soldiers have gotten the wake-up call they needed." Estelle says, "There's no need to thank us. It's us who should be thanking you. This was excellent training." Joshua nods, "I agree. This was a good learning experience." Ashton says, "Haha, if you think so, then you're set for life as braces. Though our positions may be different, we are both here to serve the public. Although I can't do much else, I'll pray for success for the both of you." Estelle grins, "Sure, and thanks again." Joshua says, "Take care of yourself." Ashton says, "I will, and I hope to be seeing you again sometime." And we have completed the soldier training quest. So we should be able to hand 2 in now when we head back to Relent. So yes, I think this is probably what we were actually meant to be doing, and why I was struggling so much. Because we couldn't afford the equipment to better ourselves. We couldn't afford the upgrades. I was just ploughing ahead with the main story. Let's report. We reported the results for soldier training. We have 500 monies, and we gained 3 BP. And we have reported the results for the Melch Main Road Monster. We gained 600 monies and 3 BP. And we remained at Junior Bracer 8th class. And Aina said the same thing she is very likely to say every time we hand in a quest / bracer job. Okay. No idea where the Mistwald is. Well, the Mistwald is south of Roland, if I've read the thing. A ferocious monster known as Rhino Cider has been spotted roving the Elise Highway. Bracers from this branch requested to deal with this threat immediately. I can't say I have happened to cross the Elise Highway, so those two, and because they're long term, can wait for later. So I now have to remember where we were actually meant to go. So, we need some spikes for Estelle, and we can grab her pile rod as well. We need to grab Estelle. So she's got some spikes and a pile rod. Nice. The hotel, wasn't it? Estelle says, Fern, I was wondering if I could ask you something. Is it true that the people from the magazine company are staying here? Vern replies, well, you're certainly right about that. Did you have some business with them? Joshua says, actually, we're here representing the guild to cooperate with them on getting a story. Fern asks, really? Is that so? Then I regret to inform you that the both of them are out at the moment. Estelle asks, oh, well, do you know where they went? Fern replies, that reporter fellow said something about heading over to the bar. How about you try asking there? Estelle asks, the bar? Got it, thanks. Joshua says, we appreciate the help. Unshaven Man says, huh? Who are you kids supposed to be? Estelle asks, are you perhaps the reporter from the Liberl news? The Unshaven Man says, that's right, but how do you know that? I like getting the scoop on things, but I hate it when people try and pry into my life. What business do you have with me? Joshua replies, "We're here representing the Bracer Guild. We were told that you had requested an escort." The unshaven man grins. "Oh, so you finally come, have you? I've been waiting forever for you guys to show up. So, where's Cassius Bright?" Estelle says, "Well, the thing is, he had another job come up, so he's not even in Relent." The unshaven man asks, "What? I came all the way here so I could get a story on this famous bracer. Crap, what a waste this trip turned out to be." Estelle grins. "I don't get what you're so disappointed about, but there's no need to get your boxes in a bunch. We've got you covered." The unshaven man says, "I guess I don't have much of a choice. You'll have to do." Wait, what did you just say? Estelle repeats, "Don't get your braces in a bunch? Your boxes in a bunch?" The unshaven man says, "No, the 'we've got you covered' part. What do you mean by that?" Estelle replies, "It's just like Joshua said, we're your representative braces. Oh, and here's our referral." We handed over the guild referral. The unshaven man says, "Hey, this has got to be some kind of bad joke. Are you trying to tell me that you little brats are braces?" Estelle pouts. "Brats? Is that how you're supposed to address a lady?" The unshaven man asks, "What do you mean, lady? There's nothing sexy about you in that outfit. If you don't like my assessment, then how about slipping into a skirt and acting like all the other girls your age?" Estelle fumes. "This clothing is specifically designed for those who wield a staff. And this looks like a skirt too. Are you blind? You're such a rude old man." The unshaven man asks, "Who are you calling an old man? I'm still in my 20s, damn it." Joshua interjects, "Getting back to business, sir. The fact is that we were dispatched by the guild. I'd be more than happy to introduce you to someone else, but I don't know when they'll be free." The unshaven man replies, "I can't extend the deadline any longer. I guess I've got no other alternative. All right, rejoice, you kids. I'm going to leave this up to you." Estelle pouts. "What a generous old man you are." Joshua says, "Easy, Estelle. I'm Joshua, and this here is Estelle. And you are?" The unshaven man says, "I'm Niall Burns, ace reporter for the Liberl News. Though we won't be working long together, I hope you'll do a good job." Estelle pouts. I'll be grateful when this is all over too. By the way, where is it exactly you want us to guide you to? The way I see it, you need a trusty guide because you're headed somewhere dangerous, right? Niall says, "Right, my destination is the Esmelas Tower. I'm sure you've heard of it before." Estelle grins. "Ha, that's it? Not only have we heard of it, but we were there on a job not that long ago." Niall says, "Well, this may just work out after all. So what I really want you to do is guide us to the tower roof. I want to get a picture for the magazine." Estelle says, "Well, aren't you the thrill seeker?" Joshua asks, "By us, do you mean that someone else is coming along too?" Niall says, "Yeah, I've got my camera woman with me. She said something about her oval camera not working right, so she took off for the oval factory. But she should have been back by now." Estelle asks, "If you're in a hurry, then wouldn't it be a good idea to head over there now? No doubt you're going to take off to get your story once you meet up with your partner, right?" Niall says, "Yes, that's true. Alright then, let's head straight to the tower once we pick up my partner from the Orwell factory. The girl with glasses says, "Wait, anything but that. I'll do anything you ask, just please give me back my camera. It's worth more to me than my life." Freddy says, This is a problem. What should I do about this, Dad? Belda says, "You're the one who took the job, so you're the one who has to deal with it." Estelle asks, "What's all the fuss about?" Joshua asks, "Could this person be?" Niall says, "That's her, all right." "Hey Dorothy, how long are you going to keep me waiting?" Dorothy the dinosaur, does she eat roses? Sorry. A tribute to the Wiggles. Dorothy says, "Niall, you came just at the right time. Please help me out here." Niall asks, "What did you do this time? You didn't waste all your money, so now you don't have enough for repairs, did you?" Dorothy gasps, "That's amazing. How did you guess? Are you like a clairvoyant or something?" Niall sighs, "When you do the same thing that many times, even an idiot would know what's going on." Freddy asks, "Do you know this person?" "I'm sorry to ask this, but can I get you to pay the repair costs?" Niall sighs, "Fine, but I'll need you to write it off as a business expense." "How much?" Freddy says, "Let's see. The decorative clock and the repairs together are 2,000 mira." Niall says, "Hold on. I can understand the repairs, but what's the deal with the decorative clock?" Dorothy says, "Well, I was looking around the store while he was doing the repairs and I saw a pretty clock. When I picked it up, it broke. But I'm glad we could write it off as a business expense. How wonderful is that?" Niall cries, "That kind of amount is not going to be covered. Crap, it looks like I'm going to have to pay out of my own pocket and get my money back later. Here's your 2,000 mira." Freddy replies, "And this is your receipt." Estelle whispers, "This is an unbelievably awkward combination if I've ever seen one." Joshua whispers, "No doubt about that. But the fact that he'll pay out of his pocket for someone means he's probably pretty nice to work under." Niall says, "Sorry to keep you waiting, kids. Had to take care of a little trouble." Dorothy asks, "Who are these kids, Niall?" Niall replies, "They're the braces who will be acting as our escorts and guides. They'll be taking the place of Cassius Bright, with whom we'd originally made arrangements." Dorothy asks, "These young kids are?" Estelle replies, "I'm Estelle. It's nice to meet you." Joshua says, "And I'm Joshua." Dorothy asks, "So it's Estelle and Joshua, is it? You may be young, but you seem reliable." "I'm Dorothy Hyatt. I am the new camerawoman for the Liberl News. At the moment I'm trading under Niall." Niall sighs, "Why'd I get stuck babysitting this blockhead of a girl? That damn editor-in-chief." Dorothy smiles. Relax, relax. Something good will come out of all of this soon enough." Niall says, "You're one to talk. Never mind, just forget it. Now that we've got everyone together, how about we go and get our story?" Joshua says, "Our destination is the Esmelas Tower, right?" Estelle nods. "All right, let's go." Dorothy says, "Right on." we want to go to the Esmelas Tower, we have to go out the northwest gate, which is beside the airport. Sorry, it just feels like we should have got at least one more party member by now. As in one more active party member. It's not nice. Well, I mean, she blinded it. She's at least doing more than the bloke smoking a cigarette.
Piece of cake.
Dorothy gasps. Wow, this tower is really tall. I wonder how many floors it has. Estelle says the last time we were here, we only made it as far as the second floor. But judging from the scale, I'd say it probably has about 5 or 6. Joshua says there should be 5. At least that's what it said in a book at home. It was investigated some time ago, but it looks like it was abandoned after that. That reminds me, it seems like there are a number of other towers like this in Liberl. Niall says that's correct. There are towers similar to this, one in Bose, Rouen and Zeiss regions. They all seem to have been built around the time that the Liberl kingdom was founded. Estelle asks, is that so? I think I'm starting to feel the history already. Niall says, my job this time is to uncover the truth about them. Dorothy, get me a few long-angle shots of this place. Dorothy says, sure. Here we go. Estelle whispers, amazing. Is a photographer's personality supposed to change by taking a camera in their hands like that? Joshua whispers, she certainly looks like a pro. And Dorothy has fallen asleep behind the camera. Dorothy says, ow! That really hurts Niall. Niall sighs, this happens every time you try to take a picture like that. Quit trying to act professional and just get me a shot using your usual style. Dorothy says, I guess I shouldn't try to toe down my style just to look good. Well, I guess I'll have to do it my own way. Oh, looking good, looking good. Now that's what I call sexy and cute. Here we go, say cheese. Estelle says, I don't get it. Why is she doing that when she's not taking photos of a person? Joshua grins. Somehow it seems natural for her. Niall says she says that she can see the expression of the scenery, whatever that's supposed to mean. And believe it or not, she takes some pretty breathtaking pictures, acting all ridiculous like that. I guess it could be considered a type of genius. The kind that's borderline insane, though. Estelle says, wow, people are sure never what they seem to be. Dorothy says, okay, I'm all done here. Niall says, alright then, let's get inside. We're headed for the roof. I'm counting on you two greenhorns. Estelle says, you just leave it to us. We won't let any monsters lay a single paw on you. Joshua says, please make sure to keep close behind us. I honestly did not notice them. Alright, coral shells. A gregarious marine monster in old ruins. Fairly harmless but dangerous in groups. They are extremely weak to fire. Which makes Firebolt the obvious choice. Yay!
That's that then. Let's move out.
Grey monster carapace. Just saw it out the corner of my eye. That time.
Let's do this!
Here I come! All right, we rule!
Nice. Fly Skipper. A lava monster, a larval monster, not lava monster, larval monster, living underground, leeches HP from its prey, strong against wind attacks.
All right, we're good to go.
as annoyingly like an escort quest as it is nice to have the people we're escorting as part of the battles, even if all they do is walk around and do nothing. Keeps us sort of connected to what we're supposed to be doing. It is a nice touch. We're still having trouble finding those green and black sepiths. Oh, hello. Poms. A dastardly fluff has the ability to steal a minuscule amount of EP. Okay, it's not particularly weak to anything. And now it's gone. Now we have an actual attack as part of Estelle's move list, he says. Do that.
Good to go.
Nice. Oh, got some little flour. More pawns. Yeah, let's see what that does. Nice. But again, it sort of muddies the waters as to exactly what Estelle is supposed to be. Whether she's supposed to be a fighter or a white mage or what.
Piece of cake.
We found some netted shoes. You already took everything it had to offer. What more do you want? Okay, so sorry, Mr. Treasure Chest. Knitted shoes. Okay. Simple shoes knitted from natural materials, light and tough. Yes, just so that Estelle can move a little farther, a little faster. You're not being overly nice. Okay, we're going to hurricane again. Yay!
Piece of cake.
Wow, that was an infusion of Sepith, and we've got a fish fillet. Good, dear Joshua. Come on, Joshua.
Piece of cake.
Another fish fillet, which is good for us.
Let's do this!
Pretty because very likely to be annoying. Nice.
Alright, we're good to go.
Oh, leathery tails. Okay.
Piece of cake.
We got Liberl. Lovely. The chest mocks you with its emptiness. Curse you, mocking treasure chest.
Piece of cake.
Oh, monsters appear. Oh, hello. Robber Trapper. A monster lurking in treasure chests. It explodes when defeated, so kill it from afar. Noted, it doesn't have any elemental weaknesses. So, soul worthy. I'm going to move Estelle over here. Oh, that's not nice. Not nice at all. Really?
Alright, we're good to go.
Nice. Very nice. We found a tin staff. Apparently someone already looted this chest. Now who could that be? Now I imagine that the tin staff belongs to Estelle, because it does. In which case there must be another way up from down below. Oh, yes, of course they respawned. Ow.
Piece of cake.
Some more milled flour and a fish fillet. Make sure Niall doesn't die.
Piece of cake.
Potluck in a shell. Okay. I'd ask yourself how long that potluck has been in this chest, and if you feel lucky. Oh, okay. It is a dish made over a campfire. Lovely in the night air. It heals 50 HP and cures KO. Right. As you do. Okay, so at least one is gone. Gotta get rid of the pole.
That's that then. Let's move out.
Fish fillet, round flour, leathery tail. Just a few things from that then. Ooh, is that a tree? That looks like a tree. interact with said tree. Estelle says, "Wow, it's bright out here. It looks like we finally made it to the rooftop." Dorothy says, "Would you look at the beautiful scenery?" Niall says, "Now, this is something else. It looks like we'll be able to get a better shot than I had originally anticipated. And this is the thing I was telling you about earlier." Estelle says, "I wonder what that's supposed to be exactly." Dorothy says, "It looks like a giant ornament-operated cauldron if you ask me." Niall says, "According to my sources, it's some sort of ancient device, although nobody seems to know what exactly it's used for." Estelle murmurs, "Hey Joshua, did you know something like this was up here?" Joshua ponders. Estelle asks, "Joshua?" Joshua says, "It's no use hiding. I think it would be wise to come out where we can see you." Estelle asks, "Huh?" Man's voice says, "Please don't hurt me. I'll come out already. I'm coming out right now." Estelle asks, "Who is this guy?" Niall says, "So somebody arrived before we did, huh?" Dorothy says, "What a surprise that was. Nice find, Joshua." Joshua asks, "And you are?" Spectacled Man says, "I apologize. Please forgive me. I'll give you every last mirror I have. Please spare my life." Estelle says, "Look here, buddy. Please don't mistake us for robbers or something weird. You do recognize this emblem, don't you?" Estelle showed the man her guild emblem. The spectacled man says, "Wait, isn't that the Bracer Guilds? So, you're trying to tell me that you're bracers?" Estelle nods, in the flesh. "I'm Estelle, and this is Joshua." Niall says, "And we're here as reporters from the Liberl News. We're having these two provide our escorts so that we can get coverage on the tower." The spectacled man says, "I'm relieved to hear that. Please, just don't ever scare me like that again. The fact that you came up here like that made me suspicious of you all." Joshua sighs, "Look who's talking. You seem like quite the suspicious fellow yourself." "Do you mind telling us who you are exactly?" Professor Alba says, "I apologize for my belated introduction. My name is Alba, and I'm an archaeologist. I came to investigate the tower in order to further my research of ancient civilizations." Dorothy asks, "All alone? I'm surprised you made it here in one piece." Professor Alba says, "Somewhat, but actually I've grown accustomed to investigating ruins like these. You see, I've got a lot of confidence in my ability to flee from monsters if need be. Although this time I found myself in a bit of a pickle." Estelle says, "You're one crazy scholar if you ask me." Niall says, "However, being an archaeologist would mean that you're familiar with the tower's origins, right?" Professor Alba says, "Well, more than the average person anyway, but since I've only just begun my investigation, there are still a lot of things I don't know myself." Niall says, "That's fine, but is there anything interesting you could tell us about this place? It'll be used for an article." Professor Alba says, "Let's see. Has everyone heard of the Septarians before?" Estelle replies, "I think Father Divine maybe said something about that before." Joshua asks, "You mean the 7 treasures endowed with power and bestowed upon the ancients by Aidos, right?" Professor Albert exclaims, "That's exactly what I'm referring to. It seems these ancients ruled the earth, seas, and skies using the powers of these treasures. It has also been written that they were even able to unlock the secrets of time and life. Approximately 1200 years ago, when this ancient civilization was destroyed by a mysterious calamity from the skies, perhaps, these septarians were also lost." Niall says, "That is the legend also recorded in the scriptures of the Septian Church. But what does it have to do with this tower?" Professor Alba says, "A part of the legend states that one of these septarians slumbers somewhere within Liberl. Its name, the Oriole." Estelle says, "The Oriole? The word certainly has a strange ring to it." Professor Alba says, "If the legend is really true, I figured I might be able to find some clues here at the tower, since it's one of the oldest ruins in all of Liberl. So I came out to investigate." Dorothy says, "Oh, what an inspiring story." Professor Alba says, "It is, isn't it? You can feel my passion for things of antiquity, right? This is splendid. I'm overjoyed that there is someone else who understands the way I feel." Joshua asks, "So did you find any of those clues you were looking for?" Professor Alba says, "I'm still working on that part, but if I can figure out how this device works, I might be onto something." Niall says, "I think it's an interesting story, but as it stands, it's a speculative one. From what you've told me, I'm sorry to say, it wouldn't fly as an article." Professor Alba says, "I see. That's extremely disappointing to hear." Estelle says, "I'm surprised myself. Contrary to my expectations, you are serious about the articles you write." Niall says, "That's because I can't write articles based on uncertain news sources. We may run the occasional gossip column, but it's policy of the Liberl News to verify our information. That aside, let's get what we came here for, shall we?" Dorothy, I want you to get several panorama shots of the Relent region. Everything else I'll leave up to your aesthetic touch. Now, get out there and get me some good pictures. Dorothy nods. "Understood. Your apprentice, Dorothy Hyatt, is ready for action." Niall says, "And as for you, Mr. Archaeologist, how about heading back to town with us when we're done here? These two kids may look like a couple of brats, but they do a pretty fine job as escorts." Estelle pouts. "Something about the way you said that makes me feel like it wasn't a compliment." Professor Alba says, "If it's all right with you to have me along, then that's far more than I could ask for." Niall says, "Then I guess it's decided. So how about we take a break until Dorothy finishes getting her shots?" Estelle says, "Wow, the view is great from here. From this height I can see all of Relent. With scenery this good, if someone turned this place into a tourist spot, they'd probably make a boatload of mirror." Joshua nods. "Yeah, you're probably right about that." Estelle asks, "What's wrong? You look a little pale." Joshua smiles. "I can't hide anything from you, can I? After we stepped onto the roof, I started feeling a little woozy." Estelle asks, "Are you going to be okay?" Joshua says, "Yeah, I think I'll be alright once I get a bit of fresh air. Why don't you make the best of this opportunity and have a look around yourself?" Estelle says, "But..." Joshua continues, "Broadening one's knowledge during a time like this is all a part of being a bracer. If you come across anything of interest, then you could tell me about it later, alright? Estelle sighs. Sometimes you can be such a smooth talker, you know that? Alright, I'll have a look around. But if you start feeling any worse, you let me know, okay? Sure, says Joshua. And I will unfortunately have to leave it there for today. We shall pick up again in the next episode. So if you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you in the next episode.